Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's the fence guy again. I'm back, Joe Spinelli. I know that on Facebook for the past 2 days we've had a lot of discussions going on about what's the theft of services charges, and the city council finally spoke out after being in contact with the news and giving no comments, and the citizens trying to contact them to find out what's actually going on with this. They finally went ahead and talked to the Call newspaper the other day, and the things that they're saying on here is still leaving some things a little bit vague and is explaining some of the things. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm only going to stay on the newspaper article just briefly because I would like to go over the ordinance itself. Um, with this, under the ordinance, the fines can be set between $25 and $500 and up to 10 days in jail per violation of theft of services. In this article here, you can see where Barry Broadhead went ahead and said that he doesn't see anybody going to jail. And then the next sentence, he says there's a possibility of going to jail. So I don't understand what that actually means, other than the fact that somebody can go to jail over this. And it all depends on how it's done. All right. Let me go ahead and open up the whole article over here on my side so I can see what's going on. They state right now we're about $150,000 due with about 120 chronic non-payers of our theft of services. Now, my question is, do these 120 people still live in Chickasaw? Or are these people that came to Chickasaw, stayed for a couple months, didn't pay the bill, and then skipped town? If that's the case, then yes, this is theft of service. They didn't have any intention of paying, and they should be prosecuted. Is this people in town that don't pay their bill every single month, and then they catch up, or are they late this month, pay the fine, and then is that what they're considered delinquent? Because in the ordinance it says it's delinquent. Delinquent people means that if you are late with one bill or you're late with 1,000 bills, delinquent is delinquent. It means you're late. That's all it means. In the ordinance, it's going after delinquent bills, not after unpaid bills. There is a difference between the two. The solution implemented by the council by unanimous vote was this ordinance that they put into play. They said that they had their legal teams looking at it and everything, but the problem with it is that according to the letter of the law, this ordinance can be construed in different ways and can be used to hurt people. It has happened in the past. Back in 2016, everybody knows the story about the lady with the $55 water bill. I know that our council is notorious for passing the buck on blame. Something's wrong with the police department or the dispatcher, all of a sudden that's Sarah Lynn's fault. There are dispatchers. If something's wrong with the water, that's Pritchard's fault because they deal with our water. Back when they had the problem with the bingo, that was the state attorney's problem, and it was their fault, not our fault. Like I said, passing the buck on blame is something that's nothing new. And now, even on this, they're already sitting there. They're setting it up with, well, if somebody goes to jail, it's not our fault. It's the judge's fault for putting them in jail. And it's even written in here. Let me see. Chickasaw Councilman Ken Sturt said that chronic violators will be held accountable. According to Broadhead, chronic refers to someone who has not met monthly sewer water pickup bill in 6 or more months. So in other words, if you're late for 6 months, then you're delinquent. Or if you don't pay the bill for 6 months, which one is it? Okay, because according to what you're saying, if you're late for 6 months, then you're in trouble. So if you got caught behind the 8 ball and every month you're late, then you're delinquent. They can bring you to jail and put you in jail. Even if you're paying the bill and you're paying the late fees every month, you're still considered delinquent. If it's over $500, then they're saying that if it's over $500 or 6 months, then that's the people that they're after. Okay. Anybody under that's under the radar, according to Broadhead. With this statement, we also got Bourne chimed in that this is the same thing as dine and dash. That means you go into a restaurant, you get something to eat, and you leave without trying to pay the bill, try to sneak out. No, this is not like that. This is like not making your car payment, not making your house payment, not paying your hospital bill. They go through the court system. They get garnished on your pay. They get judgments against you. That's what this is. So, all right, let's go ahead and drop this, and we'll go ahead and move over to the actual ordinances itself. All right. Now, there's only 5 parts to this ordinance, and it's only 2 pages long. So to state that everything that, like they stated in there, everything that they're talking about in here is also in the ordinance, which most of it is, but there's a couple things that aren't in it. And unfortunately, those couple things are key parts. All right. They have their description of what theft of services is under a person committing a person committing. Oh, my confused now. A person commits the crime of theft of utility service if, number 1, he obtains utility services from the utility boards of City of Chickasaw known by him to be available only for compensation and fails to pay for said service as correctly billed by the utility boards. So, if you fail to pay it, and then you are considered theft of services. If you fail to pay it correctly, if you said service is correctly billed by the utility board, that means if you fail to pay this bill, then your name goes on in the hat. If you're late, that's still you're not correctly paying the bill. Having control over a disposition of service of others to which he is not entitled. In other words, if you're blatantly stealing the service, let's say you move into someone's that's the dog. Let me know somebody's home. Let's say you move into somewhere and someone's already got that house and the services are already on. They moved out and left it all on. You move in, live there for 2 or 3 months, 4 or 5 months, and you never pay a bill. Well, that's blatant theft of services, and you're right. It's absolutely right. Then that's considered theft of service. All right, let's move on down. B, under that same section, explains what the services are. Failure to pay the bills pursuant to billing terms will constitute theft of service. In other words, if you don't pay the bill the way they tell you to pay the bill, then that constitutes theft of service. The only thing that matched what they said in the newspaper was the magistrate of the municipal courts or police department, in the event charges need to be filed for theft of utility service, provide copies of delinquent bills as evidence. So in other words, a delinquent bill, again, is a bill that has not been paid or has been paid late. So if you have multiple late bills and then 1 month you don't pay the bill, they can go ahead and file charges on you before you have an opportunity to pay that bill. Another thing, I'm not sure which way this goes. I'm going to have to call and ask, but if you're late this month and your bill is $75, they throw on $70 and they throw on the $25 late fee, and then next month your bill comes back around again and you want to pay that first month only, will they allow you to pay that bill or not? Somebody else could chime in on this and let me know if that's true or not. I do know that they don't take partial payments. In the event that you're found guilty of this, again, it's $25 and no more than $500 fine, and or you can serve up to 10 days in jail. Section 2 brings up the responsibility of utility payments for rental properties. Excuse me. In the event that the utility bills on particular service address are not paid when due, the utility board may disconnect such services. Now, in one breath, you guys are sitting there saying the reason why we have to do this is because we can't turn off services to property. If you can't turn off the services to the property, why is this even in here? It doesn't make any sense. It says that any reconnection fees, return check charge, interest are paid in full. That's whenever they'll turn the services back on. But then again, like I said, in the same breath, they're stating that they can't turn the services on, they can't turn services off. So that makes absolutely no sense. Let's see. The event the utilities have been disconnected on rental property, the utility board may require the owner of the property or his agent co-sign a utility service agreement with the incoming tenant. So they're already talking about having the landlords co-sign on this. What somebody has suggested earlier was that instead of having somebody co-sign, that the sewer and water sewer and trash should be in the landlord's name to be responsible for the bill, and they can just tack it on to the rent. That way they can make sure they're paid. Another thing that would go ahead and when the tenant leaves, the landlord can call City Hall and let them know, okay, there's nobody living at this address any longer. What I think is happening is people are moving in for a couple months, then they leave and they don't call the city court and turn off their services. Even though no one's using the trash and no one's using water or using sewer, the bill continues. Even if they leave and they turn off their water, okay, the sewer system is not being used, so there can't be any kind of damages or anything done to our sewer from somebody that's not using it. And as far as trash goes, there's no trash, so they're not throwing anything away. So the services aren't being used; they're not being utilized, and the people have left, but they're continuing to bill these people. Okay, that's wrong, and I feel that if you're a landlord, you should call up to make sure the city knows that it's all been turned off. And then Section 4 is a repeller, and Section 5 is the effective date of the 12th day of February 2021. So that's what the ordinance states. Again, it still can be used to hurt people. And I think that if they reworded it to say if somebody is 6-month delinquent, then they can be arrested. Okay, if you have not paid your bill in 6 months or made payments towards your bill for 6 months, yes, that is theft of service. But to sit there and say, oh well, if you're delinquent on your bill, then you can be arrested. Because when you say delinquent, again, that can mean 1, 2, 3 payments. That could mean that you've paid the bill. You've paid the late fee, and you've done this a couple times, and then one time when you haven't paid your bill, they'll come and arrest you, and then they'll bring the rest of those delinquent bills to court to use against you, and that means that it's almost like double jeopardy. Not only did you have to pay the late fee, but now you're in jail because of it. And I think that this ordinance, in the idea that they're talking about, is a good one. If somebody, like as I said, moves into our town, they utilize the utilities and then they leave, then yes, they should be arrested for theft of service. If somebody lives in our town or a homeowner and they haven't paid their bill in 6 months, then yes, they should be arrested for theft of services. But there also needs to be another option to where people can pay off this bill as they get it. Like I said, they should be able to accept partial payments. And that's something now that our city at this time has not been doing. They don't accept partial payments at all, and that's wrong. I think that I need to rethink that idea. So, and that's what I was thinking. I want to go ahead and bring this out so everybody can, have open discussion about this. You can put it underneath the video on Facebook, or you can see it on YouTube and voice there, where everybody in the community can voice on it. And I just think that this needs to be rewarded. And this is a lot of problems that we have with our council is you got 6 people sitting there trying to make a decision for 6,000. And if you had the open meetings back the way you should, then we would be able to discuss this as a community and come up with a solution as a community. So there it is. You guys can take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and try and put the ordinance underneath. And God bless Chickasaw. God bless all my neighbors.
Target on my back, lone survivor last. They got me in the sights. No surrender, no trigger, fingers go. Living the dangerous life. Hey, 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 every day when I wake, I'm trying to get up, they're knocking me down. Chewing me up, spitting me out. Hey, 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 when I need to be saved, you're making me strong, you're making me stand. Shot like a rocket up into the sky. Nothing can stop me tonight. You make me feel invincible.